If you thought that the adventure package in Despia wasn't getting any love, well, I got news for you for this event. I'm begging the 30% of you guys that have not smashed the crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so we can get to 105,000, ladies and gentlemen. Breakdown for the Arkham Games and Comics Grand Creators Case Tournament from this weekend actually is kind of interesting. We actually get to see something not like on a super crazy high regional level here and kind of see the overall impact that we're kind of just seeing here. Despia took 2 spots in the top cut here between the pure variant and, yes, actually the adventure variant. Now, the adventure variant has not popped off at all. Actually, a lot of people have pretty much left this build in the dust for whatever reason. I don't really blame the community for not wanting to explore the options with that build, because it does seem a little bit slower in some compartments, but that's not a bad thing. It does really prove, though, that the community is exploring other options right now, and I will give it to them, all right? Exploring, having different builds is good. We also had pretty much a good generic representation for the meta here. We had one Flunder in top cut. That deck is pretty much everywhere at this point. We had one Dragon Link. Dragon Link has been a pretty underestimated creature as of late. Until it goes from the pass drops here in a couple weeks, when we can see the next little shake up in the meta here when they finally get Boral and Dragon here. Hopefully it'll do something. We also had an Eldritch deck, which was technically Eldritch Invoke Dogmatica branded DP Dragoon with traps. Alright, now putting that in the Eldritch category, but there is branded stuff involved in that deck, so that is a pile of cards. We also had Praying Kids, to no surprise there, ladies and gentlemen. We also had Tenyi, Sword Soul, and we had a DDD deck kind of running it on back here, which actually is DDD. That deck has been very quiet for a little while, but still takes a very good player to kind of come up to the challenge and take this. So let's dig on into this deck list, shall we? Running the event here is actually our first Despia list. Now, the first thing that sticks out to me here is we are playing Gammas and a Driver in this deck. Cool thing is you activate Brand Infusion, your opponent tries to ash you. You deploy a Gamma and you just get clean up on aisle 9. Now, I'm not super keen on that idea. I understand the general gist of it, but alright. I also see here Edge Imp Chain package. Yeah, the Edge Imp package definitely seems like it is the way to go in the TCG. Also, those droplets for board breaking in here. And, of course, Super Polys. Don't you love full board breaking? I also see down here the Necworld, Banshee, and Zombie World here are your go-to cleanups. Also, Phantasme getting some unexpected love here, actually. I didn't expect to find Phantasme in a deck like this, but I mean, hey, it literally gives you free drawability. Also, having access to Hark to steal DP or something is definitely some of the more cute resourcing that you can do. Second place here was none other than the Flunderies. Hey, 2 M-Pen, 1 Apex with 1 Rise. Honestly, that's pretty standard at this point in time. I wouldn't try to get too crazy. We're also only playing 1 Crossout Designator. I don't know how I really feel about that. I feel like this is something that you try to play more than one of, but alright, some little cute interactions there, I guess. Of course, D-Shifters for ripping apart the field, and we are actually exploring Ghost Bells and Ghost Ogres in this deck. I do believe that this duelist did not have access to Prosperity, that's why we're probably seeing the Extravs in here. But that's a cool little thing to know here, ladies and gentlemen, especially if you're got the structure deck and you kind of are messing around with things here. This proves that you do not need Prosperity in order to succeed right now, because Mega Rise is probably just your biggest hurdle outside of that, and maybe some the other stable stuff, but it's not going to hurt you in the long run to have access to this stuff, so not too bad. Third place here is, oh my gosh, this is Dragon Link with the Extended Out Adventurer package. Now, we've seen this deck come and come again in this format, and honestly, this is a deck I really wish I could explore more Brand Infusion options in, but the fact that Fusion Destiny is legal right now, Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer is just infinitely better than any real value you can get off of Mirror Jade. And that's not really saying anything, but just this is your go-to. Honestly, outside of that, your Dragon Link package is your main carry on this. Shout out to Fairy Tail Snow. being a crazy, stupid good card in this deck. Just the fact that you can make Shooting Riser Dragon, drop the snow, have it loaded up after you've dumped how many of your resources into the graveyard, so you can just start setting up Fairy Tale Snow Interruptions. This card coming back off of the list hasn't been a massive, terrible thing, but like, this is still a pain in the butt to overall deal with, ladies and gentlemen. So, not too bad of a list. Next up here, this is our adventure package here. So, this list is only playing one Fallen of Albaz, and I am not a super big fan of only playing one in a deck like this. You will end up with so many bad hands with involving this card that you're just like, oh, man. Like, especially like, if you make your Branded Fusion play and you end up dumping it into the Lubellion, and then, you know, they stop the Lubellion from resolving, you're just like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, I can't actually load this back in because I can't make another Lubellion, so, like, what am I supposed to do? And that's, like, my biggest complaint about exploring the option of this. Though, the Light Hexial Fusion, I guess, is a kind of cute option tree here, so you can at least make the Dragoon. One Branded Fusion into Dragoon is pretty freaking strong, alright? Considering, like, the rest of this deck is made for, like, board-breaking shenanigans, you can pretty much tell through, like, the construction of the hand traps here. That's the option tree that they wanted to go with. So overall, not too bad of an option tree. Next up here is Eldritch Branded. This is just, see, this is what I was talking about. Like, you would possibly see a deck want to take on and evolve with based, and this is a good example of what I kind of had in my mind here, was you would explore the option of like Alistair the Invoker and friends, where you could set up a Macabre here, and then you're not going to get punished for doing Branded Fusion shenanigans because you're just getting locked into fusions. Okay, Golden Lord does not give two craps about anything that's going on in this, so you're basically, I almost want to call this brave, or just the whole shenanigansy engine. This is what based should really evolve into. You can definitely tell in here, like, some of these tech picks, like the one of Barrier, the one of Summon Limit is cute. We have cross-out designators in here. But overall, this is a cute little hodgepodge of things. And as I said, you probably should move this up to the Despia category if you really want, but this is interesting. Next up here is Praying Kids. Oh boy. We've seen all sorts of Praying Kids variants this format where players are just kind of cutting back. Man, the Praying Kids are just two ofs now. Poor Roxy's is just a one of. There's no point. Alright, like, you don't want to play 3 of these right now because the format doesn't want to call for it. You don't want to bulk down your hands. And then, of course, like the fact you can play the Magician Souls package, and then, oh, you're like, oh, cool, I've already done my purpose of, you know, oh, I've resolved my place. My Faithful Adventure is done. You know, my Draco back is on. Let's draw some more resources. And that's another scenario here where you don't want to draw into, you know, these worthless cards right here after they've already served their purpose for, you know, full link climbing. Honestly, this deck is very, very, very scary once it goes, and I still think this deck has a very powerful ceiling in the current format right now, but as things are shaping up here, we have a couple turning points in the next upcoming sets here, where we'll see if this really still lives up to it, depending on post-ban list. Next up is Tenyi Sword Soul. Woohoo! So we are exploring the Auroradon package shenanigans in here yet again. I see that we have our Hand Trap package just fully extended out here. Ghost Ogres in full. Ash Blossom's at a 2 of, though. I don't know how I really feel about that, especially when Branded Fusion is running around. And I see that their side deck down here is saucy. Alright, so we got Vanity's Fiends in the side deck. What in the world is going on here? I guess that they just have lost so many random things. I see that we have Denko Sekka's in here to shut out back row. And we're also playing Mystic Minds. I don't know what has happened in this duelist career that has forced them to just explore such crazy options here. But I guess the cool thing is, like, you can set up an E10 Yi and then just tribute it off for a Vanity's Fiend with really, like, no problem whatsoever. So I guess that's pretty awesome, all things considered, ladies and gentlemen. But outside of that, I don't see anything else too left field for this list. Alright, next up here is our DDD list here. Now, I've talked about DDD it's kind of fallen off a little bit, and the deck also has a much higher skill curve than what we've kind of been used to with the format. But that's not a bad thing, ladies and gentlemen. You know, just because the deck kind of takes a step back from a format here, where, you know, the format kind of develops in a little bit different of a light, doesn't mean anything. But in terms of exploration options here, I do like the one Ghost Mourner in here. Actually, is that a cross-out target? Is that just to make sure that we can do our thing? Okay, we have Triple Griffin in here. I do think, looking at this list, that this looks pretty standardized for the format. I don't really have anything too crazy to say about this, but all right. So what do you guys think about this breakdown for Arkham games and comics? Please leave a comment about how much you guys think. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Wallace content. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day with some more cool Wallace content. Peace out, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.